cometiendo un error.
¿Crees que yo pondría en peligro a este clan?
The trailer looks so good. The film looks so exciting. We're looking forward to it. You've kept it under wraps for so long. How does it feel to finally get it out into the world?
I mean, we obviously had been pushed back, and we were so excited to show the fans back in October last year. But I think everybody made the right decision. You know, the world was just in a place where it just wasn't ready and right to release anything. But to revitalize the cinema industry and the theaters this summer, we couldn't have picked a better time. I think for us especially, the amount of work that we put in, how proud we are of how it came out, and just the excitement of being able to share this crazy movie with everybody. We were so excited.
So what can you tell me about Snake Eyes, about the film in the context of the G.I. Joe franchise? I mean, this is an origin story about Snake Eyes before he went silent. So is it a standalone movie? How does it fit into the franchise? Is it accessible for everyone?
I would say it is a standalone movie and is absolutely accessible to everybody. Note that we are going back to wiping the slate clean as to what everybody knows about G.I. Joe. Of course, we're keeping to the canon of G.I. Joe and Cobra, but you don't need to understand anything apart from coming to watch a movie and understanding that this is where that first step is taken, and taken with one of the most iconic characters. And we see the man before the operator, the man before the weapon. We see him at his most human, at his most sort of down and lowest point, until he finds the corner to turn, in which creates this journey for him to become the man that we all know and we all love. That's Snake Eyes.
So judging by what we've seen so far, the stunts and the action scenes look absolutely insane. So I have to ask you about, of course, your training for the film, but more specifically, did you learn something new about yourself? I mean, about your body, your abilities, that maybe will help you in your career going forward, that you think will help you?
Yeah, the physicality of this movie is beyond what I think anybody sort of expected. And it's, you know, the important factor is that it's grounded in a reality of gravity, like actual gravity, where, you know, these are humans and these are beings doing extraordinary things. We're not sort of superheroes that can kind of fly and are indestructible. These are people who get beat up. They get thrown around, they pick themselves up, they roll with the punches, and, you know, they apply themselves to a manner which puts them beyond anybody else. And so watching like these stunts back, it was kind of like, wow, we went from like 0 to 60 within 2 months. We had 2 months training. Every single day we were in for about 4 hours a day, learning everything from katana work to, you know, taekwondo to, you know, boxing, all the mixed sort of martial arts and everything. But the choreography was what was most important. It's sort of like a dance. You need to understand the steps, you need to understand the fluidity, and you need to make sure your body is capable of doing it take after take after take. So the cardio has to be great. Your sort of coordination, just everything has to be at that sort of peak performance. So they got us to that point.
So speaking of martial arts, this year we have 3 major tentpoles with martial arts and Asian casts and main character: Mortal Kombat, Snake Eyes, and soon Shang-Chi. Do you think Asian representation is living like a good moment, and what can we do to keep it that way and go farther and better?
Yeah, I think it's having a fantastic, and I don't want to say moment, because that takes away from every other action hero that have come from sort of Asian origin. And I think we're having the opportunities. I think as long as those keep coming, moments don't need to exist. We just have, I mean, to put it bluntly, casting of these phenomenal beings. You know, they don't necessarily, you don't have to label them as, oh, he's an Asian action star. Like, he's just an action star, or he's like he's a movie star or a film star. So for these like great films, obviously, to come out, I think it's important. You know, it is still sadly moments. So to be able to sort of raise each other up and support each other within the communities, but also inter-community, is so important, because it tells the studios that we're worth the screen time, that we can bring in people to the box office. So we're gonna keep fighting that good fight.
Yeah. So following up on that, you've had an amazingly eclectic career so far. You've done everything. You've done romantic comedy, action, indie. You're filming a Jane Austen adaptation right now. So I feel like you are very careful in choosing your projects not to be typecast. Is that an important factor for you while choosing what to do next?
It's a huge factor. One, for variation, to ensure that that not only the public but people can see that any actor has the range to do sort of anything and be able to sort of lead a movie. And I think it's, you know, it's finding my place and finding the mix of these genres. You know, they're never ever sort of singular genres anymore. It's action comedy or a thriller with romantic elements. So to be able to kind of cover the gamut, I think is important. But of course, at the end of the day, going into a career like this, I've always had this image of like, right, what films would I want to see on my imaginary kind of DVD collection? How can I go scroll down that shelf and be like, oh my God, this is an amazing one, let's just put this in. And I want to be able to put these movies on at any point, and just be like, wow, that was such a good time, and have these amazing souvenirs. So that goes into that kind of thought process of projects.
I have to ask about Úrsula Corberó, who plays the Baroness.
Yes.
She's one of our most popular actresses, and this is a huge movie for her.
Amazing.
So what was it like working with her? Did you give her any advice? Did she teach you any Spanish, maybe?
She needs no advice. She's been acting since she was like a kid. She was telling us she was like doing it when she was like 9 years old or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
If anything, she was giving all of us advice. But she's one of those characters that she's so funny, she's so wacky and so creative and so just switched on. Like, I love Ursula. And she did a fantastic, she brought her A game to the Baroness and made the character hers. And she's going to be so iconic in this role. I can't wait for people to see her on the screen. But she's one of those stars that's just going to keep shining brighter. I think it's the last season of I always mess up the the Spanish.
Yeah, it's La Casa de Papel. Yeah, Money Heist.
Casa de Papel. And so I'm really eager to see where she goes from here. The sky's the limit for Ursula.